Let me just point out to the members of our committee that this committee reported out the August both Pillar 1 and 2. They're now included in the National Defense Authorization Act, so we're very optimistic that we're going to be moving forward with the response that we needed to do to make sure we move forward with the agreements between Australia and UK. We have questions that we asked you to respond either yes or no to for the committee. Do you agree to appear before this committee and make official from your office available to the committee and designated staff when invited?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you commit to keep this committee fully and currently informed about the activities under your purview?
Yes.
Do you commit to engaging in meaningful consultation while policies are being developed, not just providing notification after the fact?
Yes.
Do you commit to promptly responding to requests for briefings and information requested by the committee and its designated staff?
Yes, I do, Senator.
4 for 4. That was a good start.
Yeah.
Now we'll start the 5-minute round. So let me ask you, I want to ask you one question about the normalization talks between Israel and its neighbors. I joined a group of 10 senators that visited the Middle East shortly after Hamas's horrific attacks on October 7th. We were there to show our support for Israel, but we stopped at Saudi Arabia to try to keep on track the normalization conversations that were taking place between the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and Israel and the United States. Since that time and during that time, it became very clear to us that one of Hamas's goals in its attack against Israel was to derail the normalization talks between Israel and its neighbors. So my question to you, if confirmed, how will you work to make sure that those talks are kept on track and not derailed as a result of the conflict that's taking place in the Middle East?
Well, thank you, Chairman. Let me just say that I think the initiatives that began in the Trump administration to help bridge the diplomatic isolation that Israel has experienced are very important, and I think the Biden administration has sought to build on those. And you rightly point out that we were at a very delicate stage in our diplomacy between Israel and Saudi Arabia and other countries as well, and also looking at linking up various industrial, energy, and transportation lines with India and other countries. The October 7th attacks have been devastating, and obviously the region is now engulfed in anxiety associated with the ongoing conflict. I will say that I think we can be carefully encouraged by some of the discussions that we've had to date that indicate that there still is a willingness among the key players to restart this process and continue it. And I believe that ultimately our goal will be to entrench Israel diplomatically in the region. I believe that is in our best interests. I also believe it is in the best interests of the countries that we work with closely in the Gulf, including Saudi Arabia. I think it is understandable that at this moment some of those discussions are quiet and they are difficult, Chairman, but I believe that we must keep that dialogue going and also work towards a situation in which once this terrible conflict is resolved, that we can work with those partners to try to reassemble a Middle East at peace and with more stable structures.
In my opening statement and in our private conversations, I told you about my priorities to make sure that we conduct our foreign policy based upon our values. And that's what President Biden has said. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is part of our values. The department has a strategic plan, an equity action plan in regards to diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's part of our values that we promote for other countries to do, and yet when we look at the recruitment and retention at the State Department, it has not always been the showcase of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So do we have your commitment as to how you will embrace the need for our State Department to not only espouse these values globally, but to demonstrate through its own internal actions?
You do, Senator, and I would just go beyond that as well. I know you and others have been involved in conversations and how best to think about modernizing and helping make sure that the State Department is able to meet the modern challenges of diplomacy, how to improve retention, how to work with recruitment, how to make sure that our diplomatic corps reflects not only our values but our diversity. I just want to commit to you that I know that legislation is still in the process of internal discussion. I will commit to you to work with that. I do believe that these efforts are important, and it's critical that the State Department keep up with modern matters of innovation bureaucratically, strategically, given the challenges that we're facing.
And my last question deals with Iran. Iran is helping Russia in its war against Ukraine. Iran is the facilitator for the terrorist operations in the Middle East, including Hamas and its attack against Israel, the Hezbollah, the Houthis, the militias in Syria and Iraq. How do you see Iran's threat against America's national security? And what steps do you think we need to take?
Look, Senator, I think I join with all of you is that I'm quite concerned by a wide array of Iranian activities. We've seen provocative support to groups around the Middle East. I've been very personally concerned by Iranian support for Russia in Ukraine. I think, as we heard from Senator Risch, they are increasingly aligning themselves with China more directly. I think at probably every level, Iran is our strategic nemesis. They are seeking to undermine American purpose in the region, and we must contest that purposely across the board.